What's good, baby?
What's going on? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Well, I'm doing good, brother. We wrapping the year up, man. Lang, let's talk about some topics that you laid for the people here, man. I
Yeah.
want to talk about new talent.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that the trenches and Chrome, I hate to be this guy, in terms of new talent, is that what we talk about when you say talent?
Well, I think there's been an influx of new stars to look on the horizon, but I also think that there's some younger talent from the past year or so, past years or so, that has made some major progressions. I would point to Klutz. I would point to Eunice. Obviously, I think he got a lot of plays this year. But on the trenches side, obviously, like you got the Texas, you got the J Moores and whatnot too. I think it's just been a good influx of new talents that's been really showing some progression. Even Dollar Bill as well too. I think he's another name that you can throw in that hat as well too.
Absolutely.
I just think that in a time where we're talking about, where's the new stars, what I'm saying, I feel like in the next couple of years or so, we may be talking about these guys in that forefront.
Okay. What you got, Smo?
Yeah, man, we definitely have a good crop of new talent to pick from. And there are different styles within that, too. Obviously, we're in the puncher era. You got a lot of pen guys. You got to let you talk about King, Eunice, obviously more than punchers, I think, as they're developing, too. But you know how battle rap is. They categorize them more as pen guys. But we have potential for new stars. And I wouldn't say anyone's broken through to be a new star yet, but that's not an easy thing to do. You always need a lot of talent. And even if we could turn 2 or 3 of those guys into something, that's efficient. But right now, I'd say the closest that we have to actually being a star is Eunice. I just think some of his looks it's a different energy. The way that people catch fire with his battles, obviously he's competing versus the best of the best talent. And on top of that, he's still gotten some class work done. We like Klutz. Truth be told, he cleared Klutz, got him out of here. You know what I'm saying? That was damn near over a year ago now. But Three, I'm a big believer in what the trenches got going on. I think King, it's just a matter of getting the opportunities. Right. I think Muwap and Tex, I actually like the way the trenches and Chrome are gradually booking their talent more. I've been very vocal about that. But you also got to look at what Wusa, Eunice, and even a Cappo or a Klutz are doing as well. Those are definitely, when it comes to new talent, those are the 2 crops. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's been good for 2024, but they need to take the next step. They can't just be good up-and-comers forever. Eventually, you got to come up. So
I wish Lang and Smoke that Dollar Bill has Cappo's promo game down. Cappo had Dollar Bill's style and boss.
Well, even someone like Cappo, I feel like he's made leaps in progression in terms of just for one, I mean, say what you will, I mean, he has a solid collection of wins this year against top tier opponents. You could argue that some of the opponents didn't show up for him, but that's not his fault. You know what I'm saying? I think he still did a good job against the Shugs. He had the Netflix look. You know what I'm saying, against Torque or whatnot. And then just recently against Jazz, he had a good performance as well too. But I think for him, right, I think it's for him to become a star, he has to have those star-like performances, right? And I think that includes being consistent from beginning to end. That also includes having a promo match the material, the performance level as well too. But yeah, I mean, I feel like a part of being a new star is, popping your shit a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, and calling out people. I think that after, he battles Thesaurus, I feel like it would be a great time for him to kind of like, put himself out there a little bit more, so we'll see.
Right. So in the pecking order, would you guys have Eunice 1? Would you have Klutz and maybe King fighting for the second spot?
I'd have Eunice at 1.
Me too. I got Eunice at 1. I had King at 1 for a long time, but I got Eunice at 1 right now.
I'd have Eunice at 1, and I'd have King at 2. And there's, I think, from like 3 to 5, when you got, Wusa, Cappo, of course, Klutz. I think there's more Muwap and Tex. Like, there's a lot of preference once you get there. Everybody's got a different body of work, but I have Eunice very firmly at 1. And then King, I think it's just a matter of getting opportunities. I couldn't put King above Eunice because I've seen Eunice show improve in bigger spots. Guy's going to have his first vet coming up. But since, we talk about the trenches roster, he won the tournament with all the trenches roster in it. You know what I'm saying?
And he's pushing him to the forefront. Like, hey guys, this is my young boy. He's the face of the trenches.
Yeah, and he got the win over Preem. And people have been wanting to see Los Preem over there in iBattle, who's definitely been doing good things. You know what I'm saying?
I like Preem.
He was putting that conversation. I feel like with Eunice and King, people wanted matchups like that between all of them because of that high level writing. And I thought King went in there and showed a little bit more versatility. I think it's a fairly close battle, but I had King winning. So it's just a matter of him battling those vets. But right now, I don't think there's an argument that doesn't have Eunice at number 1.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree with that. I was gonna say now the only different thing I would say is in also it kind of speaks to what Jsmo was alluding to.
Right.
I low key have Eunice and Klutz as the 1 and 2 with King at 3, off the strength of me seeing, and I can understand because I feel like King has the most upside, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And I think him being the faces of the trenches, new talent means a lot. I just like what Klutz has done against the veterans. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he had one of the loudest upsets, loudest wins last year, or pretty
Right.
much last year against
Right.
Danny. You know, but I'm not
Right.
I'm not mad at someone saying that King is above Klutz right now, especially off of impact and whatnot. But in terms of work level, and again, we get a chance to see what King is going to do against Cortez, and I feel like that would be his opportunity to show that he can do the same thing that he's done against his counterparts against the veterans as well.
Where do you gentlemen have foots at in this conversation?
Off of skill
Well,
set,
he's done good things though, but I
yeah,
think that his momentum is really with him. It was a booking nightmare for anyone that
yeah,
really know. The reason his momentum went down is mostly things that fuck ups from other people that were not
Right.
really in his like has to do with the business of it. But I still think he's really good. But I got to keep it real. His last battle is versus Wusa, one of the
Yeah.
other guys, and he choked, and I got him losing that battle. You know what I'm saying? And in a battle that I really thought Foot should be the favorite going into. So I think you have to put him down a couple steps. But we're also talking about a guy. His Jerry West battle was fantastic. Him
Right.
and Sfair had a goodie on volume. So to me, he's not in that top 2 or 3 conversation. But like I said, when you get past, in my opinion, King and Eunice, there's a lot of debate. Like we know the names, but I can't give you a concrete order from 3 to 8 between a bunch of guys that are doing their thing.
Did Sfair Soul and Authentic and those guys take a dip to you guys, like a big dip?
Well, I think Sfair Soul has taken a dip in comparison to his counterpart, because like I think Authentic was kind of in the same realm that he was before, but Sfair Soul specifically has taken a dip, and it could be an outside out of mind thing, but
He's the guy.
also,
For a minute there, he was the guy
yeah,
from his class. I felt, and he took a tough Danny loss. I mean, he took a
yeah,
ugly Danny.
Yeah.
Danny
yeah.
Myers.
He battled Nitty also. Did he battle Nitty also?
Yeah,
He
he did.
battled
That
Nitty.
was
He
really,
battled
that was a
Nitty.
really good
Yeah.
battle. I think a lot of people ended up having Nitty when it came, but there's debates for Sfair. Like that's a very, very good battle. But then he lost to Danny. He had the no impact loss. Him and Foots got cooked by DNA and John.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then he went away. I almost got worried
After the Kid Slade performance, I thought was good.
But you might see him. You might see him. That's right. The Slade battle was pretty good too. But he's just been quiet. So if he's more active, I think he's got the talent. But 2 of your last 3, some people even got him losing to Slade. You know what I'm saying? You could debate he lost his last couple, and that's definitely knocked him down a few notches. But talent-wise, I think he's got it. But you just got to rebrand that and get him back in motion.
Yeah. I just want to say Wusa right quick, man. Wusa beating T-Top. I think that was very big to close out the year for that brother going in the 2025, man. You know what I mean? Where I'm going to pay attention to Wusa, Hustle, those guys, Gorilla, like those young guys coming up. I'm paying attention to more.
We're a step above the rest there, like Hustle and Gorilla. I think they got quite a bit of work to do until we
absolutely
with these guys. But with Wu, I got to say, it's my big issue with him for a minute. And I know Wu doesn't think I like him, and that's not the case. I actually think style-wise, he's got one of the more original styles of anyone that we're talking about right now. I think that he's going to bring parity. Like people like hearing him because he's a little bit different than like the meta or the regular type of styles that you're seeing. I want to see him get wins, and the T-Top battle is a win. I thought in the beginning, I had him losing to Franz 3-0. I had him losing to Sfair 3-0. I had him losing to Bad News, although he did good. He kind of got lined up with that one. That's not his fault. But to see him getting more in the winning direction, because you can rap really good, but you got to turn that into W's, and I'm slowly seeing him starting to do that. And I think that he deserves the noise around his name right now, coming off the Foots battle, coming off the T-Top battle.
All right. Lang, talk to me about changes in leagues. Let's talk about platforms right quick, brother.
Yeah, no, I think that well, for one, I think we took a major blow with RBE not consistently throwing events, right? You have the best year of RBE's existence, and now you're kind of sheltering towards the what's I think their series is what's next or what now.
They're all full circle.
And full circle, and pretty much full circle, but like ARP named it 2 different series as if it's not the same thing. So I was trying
ARP,
to be,
we call it full circle, brother.
but
it's a full circle battle. I don't care what the title is.
Yeah, right. So I think of that, right, and I think of just a lot of the RBE talent, right. I think earlier in the year, a phenomenon, or if you want to call it if you want to call it something else, of the brick situation. I think that was one of the topics that was touched on earlier on in this year, like what happens with them next, and we still don't know what the future holds for them. You know what I'm saying? So, that kind of links into the new talent, because a lot of those bricks were people that we consider to be the Pains and all those guys who kind of pretty much took himself away from the bricks or whatever. That's a whole saga in itself, but that's one of the things I think of. Obviously, we Smo mentioned just the trenches and them coming into prominence with their new talent as well. I think the tournament was a beautiful thing for them to do. All of us know that we as fans, even if we don't know the people, if there's a tournament, we want in on it just because of the competition aspect of it. I think of that as well. I think of URL kind of like, not really having any big stage events this year, kind of like sticking with their studio, which I think it paid dividends in some aspect. We did get good matches. They threw the Nexus events. I thought Gnome 14 was a pretty good event, all things considered as well too.
I think, right?
But that was another thing I thought about too, was just no real big, and granted we know what happened with the King VQ SM crossover event that was supposed to be, I guess, a bigger venue if I'm not mistaken, but then they kind of had to shift into a different direction because of the hurricane or whatever. Yeah, and I also just think of the rise of Black Mafia Battle League, like the battlers really taking ownership over booking battles. I thought
it was heavy.
Yeah. Bullpen did their thing the first couple events. I know the last Cassidy event was a debacle, but early on in the year, politics as usual was a huge thing with all that money going around, judge battles and whatnot. I think the beauty of this year, right, was just the ownership taken by the battlers booking battles. Even with King of the Dot having their partnership with TBL, like a lot of those battles happen because of that partnership with Chilla in management, kind of helping book some of the battles with the sponsorship. I just noticed there was a lot. It was a lot more of like the battlers taking ownership of like booking major battles.
I would say this Lang is small. I thought King of the Dot, their last two events stemming from last year, going to this year, they had two dope events back to back, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Got a lot of conversation. We had a better league this year and everything. Better with the power moves and the master.
Can't forget about power moves as well too. Shout out to Hitman. Power moves, one of the biggest events of the year as well too. Another primetime battler that not only built like a TV show off of battle rap, but also taking that same momentum and putting an actual major marquee event behind it as well.
Yeah, I think speaking of what 3 said, King of the Dots had a few good ones in a row. I mean, they do some lower level, the fade and stuff like that. If you really watch it, but in terms of the big level cards, the ones that everyone are seeing, from Stay Forever to Blackout,
so Blackout was fire.
To Heat to
the Nova Scotia event.
That's 3 really, really good events back to back. And I think that's what you're seeing more is that, speaking directly on URL for a second, I think a big talk is like the big battle conversation, like where the big battles are actually happening at. And granted, they have Lux and Nitty, so you can throw that in the fold. But I think what you saw more this year is the big battles going on all different leagues. Mook and Ors goes down over here in Detroit. Power Moves picks up Hitman and Geechee. King of the Dot picks up Tay Roc and Big K. So you're seeing more parity there. But I think this was such an upgrade in battle rap from last year, quality-wise. I mean, and RBE absolutely did their thing to the highest degree. They really held it down for the culture last year in what was a really down year for URL, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But
2 years in a row, Smoke, to me. 2 years in a row to me.
I didn't like 2022 that much from URL. I didn't like 2023. I think this has actually been a bit of a better year for them. I think Gnome 14 is actually an event that, since we get so far from it, I think that was actually a very good event. Not only did you have Lux and Nitty, you had Swamp and Hustle, you had Geechee and Fonz, you had Tay Roc, Coffee and Jazz. Like, there was a lot of good things. I actually had that in my top 5 events of the year. But even though they had other events that weren't by any means like world stoppers, they throw the most events and they put the most money in these battlers' pockets, and these were still decent events. Summer Madness, Kings and Queens. Did I hate the concept? Absolutely. But were the raps pretty good by the time it actually came? It actually was a pretty good event. Bars Over Politics was actually a pretty good event. Outside 3 even. So they're getting more back into their volume, getting their work done. Can they do better? Absolutely. This is not URL at its best. Is it definitely an upgrade from 2023? For sure. But like Lang said, the story this year is about the battler ran leagues. Even though Bullpen kind of had their situation out of their hands, you know what I'm saying? John put on, Hitman put on, Calico put on, and I don't think a lot of people know TBL is Chilla's league.
Yes.
Yes.
Really, a lot of how Massacre 6 went down, you could credit to King of the Dot, and they're the bigger league, but you got to give credit to Chilla Jones as well. So this year was all about the parity and battlers throwing events, and I wouldn't mind. I don't know if that'll work every single year, but it did dividends for the culture, man. I think it gave us a really good 2024.
All right, Ill Will and Big K, right? Because they're very prominent for being RBE, right? But them not, yes, they battle other leagues and stuff like that, right? But them not battling RB, how much did that hurt them though? Because I feel like they're like those two guys took a dip back since RB went kind of left right quick.
Well, specifically for Ill Will, I know he personally has decided to do like a pitch count for himself, But yeah, I mean, with anybody that has like made RB their home, they're going to take a little bit of a hit in terms of getting consistent plates. But I mean, but again, you also have the Riot, who also threw a good card as well too. And the Riot usually houses some of those guys that are usually on the RBEs or on other major platforms and whatnot. So I think Big K outside of the Power Moves event was on the Riot card. I think it was the Riot versus the Rap Off as well too against Next. Yeah. And he did like an event on King of the Dot as well too, a smaller stakes event as well too. So there's still platforms out there, but you can noticeably see just the lack of like battles booked due to RB not really being in the fold. So.
Yeah, and they just had kind of a worse year rap-wise. Like, they did not rap as good this year as last year. And I know we were debating last night, Lang, with the boss. A couple of us were going back and forth in one of our group chats about Ill Will taking a real step back this year. I still think he did some good things. I thought the Verb battle was good. I had him winning. And I think he gets a little overhated for the Bill battle. He choked, so I'm not going to sit here and say – but I don't think it was just like a garbage battle. I thought his second –
Oh, the easy battle was bad, though, Smo. That easy battle.
Died. It was death, despair, and agony. He died the worst of deaths. And a lot of people got him losing the EK battle, but my thing is, does he look washed? No, but he definitely took a step back. And then as for Big K, he took a step back in terms of opportunities for sure. There was a point halfway through the year he battled Marv 1 in what was a Steel King battle. That wasn't even a real battle. Let's keep it real. Next. And then he battled out in Ireland. He did really good. I forgot the opponent.
Yeah, Appa as well too, I think.
But these aren't. This is a far shout from the champion of the year, 2023. You know what I'm saying? So, and then obviously New Jersey Twerk. If we're talking about a death for Ill Will, Twerk did Big K very, very bad. So it's definitely a step back for them in opportunities and rapping. But that's what happens when you're Hall of Famers of one of the biggest platforms, and the platform just disappears. You know what I'm saying?
Also, I want to talk about bookings and stuff. Bookings, right? Because when I interviewed T-Top last week, battling Wusa, I felt like a couple of the battles and you could hear these guys say this during the telecast, right? They didn't have a lot of time. When Nitty said the same thing against when he battled Eunice and stuff like that, right? I just wish certain leagues would give guys ample time to get their material right. Cause I would give Nitty this, man. Damn, brother, you wrote that shit the night before that second round. God damn, my boy, that's some other shit.
It's just tough. It's just tough because I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? I feel like in the ideal world, everyone gets. I mean, I feel like people can really prep 3 to 5 weeks if we're being real. As of in today's battle rap, I feel like times before was different. But at the same time, you kind of put the new talent in a tough position because on one hand, it's like if you give them opportunity within a 2-week span, you're giving them a shot and you got to take a risk as a younger talent. But at the same time, it's like not everybody is built to do 2 weeks notice or 3 weeks notice. I mean, I think Klutz even went on record saying that like, hey, I don't battle that often. And when I do battle, I want to have as much prep as possible because I want to craft the best material possible. And not a lot of people have the capacity to do that. So I think it's a weird thing. I think for the people that have the aptitude to do it, I mean, they can do it, but ideally we would want like battles to be like, with 3 to 5 weeks prep, at least a month.
It's a URL issue more than anything. We could just be flat out like it doesn't happen in other leagues. I also do believe it, with other leagues, they throw 1 or 2 events a year. So you get to plan a lot more around that. If I'm throwing 8 to 10 events, I have a lot more moving pieces to work with. But even with that being said, you're number one, your URL for a reason. You got to just make calls quicker. Like calls just have to be made quicker. Decisions got to be made more ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? Do I believe every battler that said, "Oh, I had 3 days"? I think some of you were lying. And actually, I know some of you were lying. But that doesn't mean that it still isn't wrong. Like that doesn't mean there's still some battles out here outside 3. There was rumors of it. For the December card, you were a December card for a month and a half, 2 months, but somehow the calls were definitely, at least by what everyone is saying. They weren't made more than 3 weeks ahead of time. So it really just comes down to shit has to get put in motion a week or two more, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit more time for these guys. And that's definitely something they got to work on. That's been a complaint since before this year. And it's that simple. It's got to get better.
Yeah.
All right, now mega matches in 2024, right? Let's talk about that right quick, right? I got Hitman Geechee, Nitty Lux, of course, Hollow, Swamp Calico, Swamp Verb, Easy vs. Ill Will, R Smook, of course, Jazz vs. Coffee, Jazz vs. Tay Roc, Ward Ave, Real Sick vs. Nitty for me.
We had a good year, man.
It was a good year. Hollow, A-War, Chiron, Ilmac, Hustle, Geechee, Twerk, Big K, Frack, John, Rock, Big K. Yeah, man. Talk to me about mega matches, fellas.
Yeah, I feel like we got the longer weighted matches, and most of them lived up to what they were supposed to be. Even if you want to say it was one-sided, it was still entertaining. Like I still rewatch Mook's performance against Arsenal quite often.
Okay.
And Lux and Nitty is Lux and Nitty. We don't even have to, you know what I'm saying? We don't even have to discuss that. But I feel like just all the battles that we wanted to see, well, not all of them, but the ones that were booked ended up being, you know, good battles. I thought Jazz and Coffee was a really good battle. And I think that, you know, for Coffee at least, that did a lot for her legacy. You know what I'm saying? I think Smo answered one of his questions on his I think it was a mailbox question or whatever of is Coffee a top 10 battle this year? She can make that case off of the battle she had with Jazz. You know what I'm saying?
That's why that conversation floated around.
Yeah. So I think it's dope that we got the long awaited matchups. We got the marquee matchups that we wanted from two giants. And I mean, and the funny thing is there's still a lot of big battles left on the table for next year. So yeah, we were fed beautifully this year, honestly.
I think a big reason for that too is, like we spoke on before, a lot of these battler ran platforms, man, and let's just call it what it is. It takes the politics and it takes a lot of the complications behind the scenes out. A lot of the reasons we don't get this is because people rep home leagues. They had 2 or 3 big corporations leagues in a sense, and there's a lot of pride in that. But when you have a Hitman that pops out, it becomes neutral ground. That's why we want Easy and Tay Roc so bad over there. When you have a Winter Madness that pops out, it's neutral ground and it can just happen easier. Like we wanted Swamp and Cal forever. For whatever reason, it couldn't happen. Well, when Cal has his own league, it's a little bit easier to throw that. So you got a little bit of what battle rap is with the politics peeled back a little bit, and that's always going to be a part of it because we're dealing with a lot of money with some of these leagues. You know what I'm saying? Important outcomes business wise. But yeah, a big reason we got so many mega matches is just because of that same parity that we praised earlier with the battler ran leagues. But you know, hopefully we get more of that next year, one way or another.
I would say this: all these battles we're talking about, Nitty and Lux has been at all these battles by far, man. The gap between Nitty and Lux and everyone else. I'm sorry, in terms of back and forth, in terms of that feel of a battle.
I mean, we don't get a lot of instant classics. We really don't even get one a year. I'd say the last battle before this that I called classic on drop was Easy and Chess. So obviously it doesn't happen just every year. I guess you could argue Hitman and Will, you know, some battles in the moment you don't realize are classic till we get 4 or 5 years back and look back.
Yeah.
Even Geechee and Hitman, like that's one where quality wise, is it Lux and Nitty? No, I think it's a step below, but it did 1.5 million in like a couple of weeks, man. So I'd be crazy to not say that's not going to grow to be a classic battle. It really is one. So battle of the year is just a sewn up thing. And I think a lot of us knew when that battle went down. I think the only thing was, I'm not going to say, will Lux take him serious, but will you get the pen? Will you get Midwest Miles Lux? You know what I'm saying? And that is exactly what we got. And then you still got you got a top 5 Lux, in my opinion, and you got a top 5 Nitty. So I do think that is pretty clearly the battle of the year. But we had a couple up there that impact-wise are almost of that level. Even though Mook and Ars isn't competitive, that's a key piece of history and a historic Murder Mook performance. Hitman and Geechee, like you said. So, you know, battle of the year might be kind of like we know what it is, but that doesn't mean that everybody still didn't do immaculate history-changing things in 2024.
Yeah.
The one-sided battle you're talking about, Lang, can we throw Jazz and Tay Roc in there when we talk about one-sided battles?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but at the same time, that was a spectacle. That's a spectacle nonetheless, because I think that's one of Jazz's best performances this year. And it was a shocker to many because a lot of people had said the Jazz track record against the men is not good. And then boom, she gives you one of her best performance ever against a male counterpart, right? So yeah, and one thing I've observed, especially in preparation of a couple videos I was doing, was that last year we got a great deal of battles, right? But I think the difference is in this year is that I feel like the morale behind battle rap is much different than it was back then. Do we still have our drama this year? Absolutely. I mean, we have our weeks and cycles of drama, but I feel like this year there's been more of a focus or recalibration behind the drama adding to the battles as opposed to it being its own separate entity, if that makes sense. Because I was trying to figure out what was so different between this year and last year, because there's mega matches last year and there's some this year. And I just think the morale is just better, you know? Like I feel like everyone knew where battle rap was last year, and everyone kind of made a conscious effort or unconscious effort to kind of like really focus on the battles this year. And I thought that was a dope kind of transition. So
Smo, what do you think about Swamp having 2 mega matches this year, man? Swamp and Calico, Swamp and Verb, man.
Yeah, it should have happened last year, man. God damn, you know what I'm saying? Quick enough. I mean, his 2022 was a full. He was, to me, after the Tay Roc battle, he was top tier. I know some people want to get specific and you need this and that, but he's top. I feel like he was top tier after he had a great battle with Tay Roc on SM, and then 2023. He just didn't get like looks like that. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the Trez, the one real like what peer that they gave him skill wise, Chef Trez, ended up being one of the best battles last year. So it was long overdue, and he absolutely deserves it. I think he showed out for all of them. I got him clearly beating Verb in a grudge match. I mean, clearly winning your grudge matches. You know, not every top tier match is a legacy match. Like these are really the ones that shifted him. For anyone that was still doubting, these are the ones that fully shifted him over. And then you even got the Rex battle. It's not the same. And him and Cal is great. I personally had Cal winning, but there's an argument for Swamp. I'm not mad at it. One of the better battles of the year. And then Rex, even though it's a step below, is still a legend plate. And that's really who he needs to be battling right now. I mean, he's always going to give shots. He's always going to do things. But I'm a big believer in certain guys play a certain role in this culture. You know, Hitman and Surf, they're not going to give shots. They're going to have mega matches. And then you have top tiers, you know what I'm saying, that they can give a shot here and there. It's good when Swamp does it, but he's building his legacies in his prime right now. So he should be getting his prime matchups. And this is just an example of a guy that should be getting the biggest battles, getting them. And he answered the call every time, man. I couldn't be happier for him. And he's had an incredible year. I thought his 2022 was his best. And he's beaten that with his 2024, in my opinion, no question.
Lang, talk to me about your Midwest brother, Hitman Holla, man. How is this man still getting box office numbers in year 14?
He understands battle rap and he understands, you know, chain of demand. Like I feel like his promo matches the battle. You know, like I think with him being the reason why he's considered one of the greatest battlers ever is because of his consistency and because he's able to back up what he's saying. Like I feel like if you have him losing a battle, it's it's in a situation where someone gave a lifetime performance, right? So there's that aspect of it. But there's also, if you had him losing a battle before, he's for sure going to be clipped up for the next battle. After the easy battle, he gave you his performance against Ill Will. After the Cassidy battle, where people said the battle wasn't, it was whatever, he gave you a performance against Calico.
Right.
So, and then also he's the ultimate competitor too. Like I think his competition, I think the fact that he cares so much about the numbers.
He bitches him out a little bit too much sometimes, though, respectfully.
But again, I feel like every battler is like that. The difference is though, is he's one of the most accomplished, and it just comes off a little bit, you know, worrisome. But I think that is ultimately his nature of competition that he enjoys so much, and I just think it's his ability to back up what he's saying when he's battling. Now, granted, I will say he does have a little bit of woe is me every once in a while. Like I feel like that is the case. But at the same time,
no reason to have that. No reason to have that, in my opinion.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think he has built his life off of being a competitor. I mean, in sports and whatnot, that's kind of carried over into battle rap. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really be mad at that. I mean, if you're not passionate about your craft, then what you're doing it for?
He's passionate.
Yeah, and on top of that, if I can comment real quick, because I think that's such a convo about Hitman complaining too much, this and that. I think a lot of that ends up being promo. I don't think a lot of people realize if more of you battlers were like Hitman, everyone would be getting paid a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like there's excitement that comes with that. Now, is he a bit delusional? Yes, he lost to Easy. I think he's a pro candidate, but it's just like there's some things that he's not, but that's every battle rapper has stuff to do with that. Does he do? So one could argue he does it to the highest level in terms of emotionally, right? More than other guys. I don't always agree with everything he says, but he's the biggest draw in battle rap. You know what I'm saying? So him being outside, whether you're making fun of it or whether you actually agree with him, all that goes into the energy of the culture getting more numbers. He does a space. There's a reason his spaces get these thousands and thousands and thousands of views afterwards, because even if it's controversial, it's bringing attention in. So I agree with his formula. I don't always agree with everything he says, just like anyone else.
Of course,
I think he's right about some stuff, but there's a reason he's the biggest draw in battle rap, because that's, Mook has the same type of rants, not as often, you know what I'm saying? But the greats have rants like that. That helps the sport, whether people like it or not.
All right. Mega matches of 2025, fellas. What we doing, Lang?
Man, battles that I personally want to see going into next year. Obviously, I mean, Easy has his name in a couple of them, right? Like you could do Easy and Roc, you could do Easy and Twerk. You know what I'm saying? Easy and Mook, because it's been talked about a little bit too. But then on the other side, I'm thinking of Twerk versus Hitman. That could be a huge thing. Hitman and Lux is a huge thing. Right, exactly. Hitman and Mook is another huge battle that could potentially happen if they find some middle ground or whatnot. And then you got Swamp Name is in a couple of them too. I mean, I don't know if people consider mega matches, but I would love to see Swamp versus Goods. That's a battle he's been wanting for quite some time. 3, I know you don't like the battle. Do you have
a mega match? This is a good ass battle, 3.
But I like the battle stylistically though.
I like that, Swamp. Okay, so let me get this right, because the last
couple
Swamp Goods and Avin Goods.
Right.
You guys care about Swamp and Goods, fellas? Really?
I care now. I care about Swamp and Goods a lot more than
I care about
Avin.
Yeah.
Personally, I care about. I think. Well, first of all, I think just for that particular matchup, real quick, I like that neither of them are very lyrical rappers in a sense, right? They might get a little underrated, especially Swamp. I feel like he's worked on his bar for bar stuff a little bit more, but that's a battle where it's going to be the other elements, the angling, the real talk. Like I feel like their styles play off each other really well, and especially when they both ask for the battle, I like it. Is it a mega match like the others we mentioned? No, it is no Roc and Easy. It is no Hitman by any means, but it's just showing that even with besides those top headliners, we still have good top tier rec all throughout as well.
Swapping Easy. Swapping Goods for
Swapping Easy is another one. Oh. But those guys are not even like the most better. But those guys are not even the Easy. He's good bar for bar, and same thing with Swamp. But that matchup's not even a bar for bar battle. That's a battle of approaches.
Right.
So I think it's kind of the same prototype there. I also think of on the ladies' side, I'm not gonna lie. When they told me that Coffee and Couture was booked, I was ready for that battle. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see Couture back in the ring. Because honestly, on the female side, I think that when Couture comes back, that's a mega battle, regardless of who she stands in front of. If it's Jazz or if it's Coffee, I'm ready to see that as well too.
I'd do anything for Jazz and Couture. Man.
Yeah,
that would be probably not going to happen in my lifetime. I'm honest. I'm a realist, but that is oh my god.
Yeah, Jazz Couture is fire.
I never agree with running out of battles. I feel like that's lazy. I feel like people just get down in the sport. Anyone that's out here and really cares about the booking, that's never an excuse for me. It's never that there's not battles to make. It's that nobody's thought hard enough or creative enough, because there's always matches to mix up. And going into 2025, how many years have you heard we're running out of matches? And I think we might have more mega matches we can predict for next year than the last 5 years. We just need people to actually come outside, and we need some of the creative minds to be a little bit more creative.
And we need Tay Roc to come outside and battle Easy the Black Cat.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We need people to come outside and get things done. And that's one particular matchup that, oh God, we could definitely talk about that.
Roc got no big mega matches to me. Smo and MLAng, he don't no big mega matches. He's battling everybody.
Yeah, I mean, Easy is by far the biggest one. I still think that he technically would have some big battles left, but it's far
no.
He doesn't have anything quite like the Easy battle on the table. But I feel like that's gotten beyond. That's become more like a prideful thing between two men. We know that outside of battle rap, I mean, this could be a situation outside of battle rap. There's pride is the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like it just causes things to not happen. So I don't believe in any of this jealousy or he can't do this or this and that. We're talking about two of the best alive, and one of them is like a GOAT candidate. You know what I'm saying? But people just got to put their emotions to the side and let's make some money.
Lang, let me ask you a question. Easy told me that the only, and I don't co-sign, I don't like this at all. The only way he'll battle Roc if Roc comes to Chrome or Trenches.
Yeah, I mean, again, that goes to the pride part.
One question: Are you guys also good with the fact that Easy doesn't want to go to any other platform unless it's Trenches or Chrome? Yeah.
No, I was gonna say that also kind of goes to the pride thing, right? And I feel like You know, and I think the one critique that Easy gets is him being selective or him like being like trying to make the best situation for himself to win, which I mean, being calculated is a huge thing. I mean, battlers do that in battle rap, but sometimes to make these battles happen, you just gotta go out of your element a little bit. Like there's a reason why when we heard that Easy and Twerk or Easy or Rock could have happened on Power Moves, we were like, damn, why didn't it happen? Because that would have been a neutral area, and that probably would have been the best way to do business. And I mean, with him saying that, I mean, it just pretty much puts into the scope of like the battle's probably not going to happen because I don't see Rock wavering from his stance, and same thing for Easy. I think that with Easy, right, you can have a presence on Chrome, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's your only presence. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he mentioned that he also would take a battle on King of the Dot if it was for like the right opponent as well too. But they're not even doing that many events like that. So you're pretty much you're pretty much shortening your opportunities to battle. But I mean, quite honestly, I'm not a fan of it, but I can't tell someone how to run their brand. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he's a megastar. I'm not. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of disheartening to hear that because I feel like battles like that, you need that on a neutral ground. So
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone else would get critiqued for that. You know what I'm saying? But it's the same way though that I'm sure Rock only wants to do the battle on URL. So I'm not going to act like it's a one-way street.
Yeah.
Just on Easy wanting to do it on Chrome. Rock is the one that turned down the Power Moves battle for
Yeah.
what we know. So almost if I'm not going to try to do the whole blame game. I think both of them flip flop all the time. I don't think any of them had a straight story with it. I don't like it. Obviously, it's probably advantageous for his business, but my bigger issue is the fact that he battled twice this year, and I think that's garbage. I think that's garbage. You're one of the stars in the sport. You're one of the absolute best pound for pound in the sport, and you battle twice. So for me next year, whether it's Chrome or Trenches, do I like that? No, but we can debate about that later. Guy needs to come outside 5 or 6 times because to me, the only thing I'm not as worried, like I said, about if it only happens on Chrome and Trenches. There's no reason you should be popping shit the way you are and you battled twice last year. That is what's, to me, I think is the garbage part. But if it happens on Chrome and Trenches, bro, we watch people make a run on just one league. Like even if they can move around, Big K and Ill Will's biggest battles were coming back to back on RBE. On URL, Tay Roc and some of these other legends that we can name had all their biggest battles damn near for the most part on URL. So I'm not as worried about the league, man, but come outside.
And another thing I wanted to say really quick is what was I gonna say? Nah, but another thing I was gonna say is that when it comes to Easy, right? Like, this is a year he's trying to win Champion of the Year or the 2025. You need
I gotta give him credit. He's be outside this year.
Right.
We'll see, Smo. We'll see, Smo, because I told him we'll see 5-6 times. Jalang, okay, we'll see.
I think 4 or 5. He only needs technically because Black is going back to 3 battles. He's going back to 3.
I see him just 4, man.
But I think that generally you want 4 or 5 because that's your best case. Most of the Champion of the Year people will have like 5 battles. But I say that to say, in order for him to do that, you can't just assume that the business on the Chrome end is just going to hold up their end of the bargain all the time. Like you're trying to make these battles with the Cassidys and the Mooks and all that, but like you kind of need those other matchups to kind of like balance out your resume.
Swamp.
So I don't know. Swamp, exactly. So
everybody wants Swamp and Easy. They're not letting him get away from Swamp and Easy.
No, never. You should not. All of us are battle rap. We're battle rap media up here. All 3 of us should not sweep that battle under the rug.
Nah, I think it has to happen, and I don't even think it has to happen next. Hell, it doesn't even have to happen in his next 2 or 3. But if we get out of 2025 and Swamp hasn't battled, Easy hasn't battled Swamp, we're going to be making that face that you just made just now. So I'm 100% with you on that one.
Easy and Mook, what do you guys think about that?
I like the battle. I like the battle. I think Mook is in his element, man. I feel like his last specifically like the last 2 performances, I think that's like the best stretch of Mook that we got. I feel like we always get a Mook that has a good performance and then a not so good performance. It's been like, half and half. Shout out to the boss.
Back to back good performances, though. Man, back to back Mooks, I thought were pretty solid.
That's what I'm saying. His last 2 has been great. And what I like specifically about this performance against ours was I think he's made a choice of either going fully into the battle, the rapping bag, and fully into the angling bag. I felt like he kind of found the perfect mix of both in this battle, and I just thought this was like some of his best form of rapping, with all things considered too. So I think that him versus Easy would be a dope matchup, especially we consider Mook still to be one of the top anglers in battle rap, and Easy being one of the best counter writers in battle rap. I just think the battle, makes sense. So yeah, it would be a great battle.
All right. For me, Real Sick and MLAng and Chiron and Chiron and Real Sick also are battles I want to see next year.
Definitely, especially real Sick. I mean, Chiron's been on a run, so obviously him versus Sick, kind of comparing the momentum will be great. I think MLAng and Real Sick would be special. I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't got MLAng winning his last couple. I don't. I think he's one of the better ever. You know what I'm saying? So, I thought Chiron got after him.
He did.
Really got after him. You know what I'm saying? So I think Real Sick and MLAng might bring the best out of MLAng again. But if you want to see two guys that are at their peak, rec wise, I think Chiron and Sick would be that. And to speak on Easy and Mook real quick, I think it will be a great battle, especially with their form recently. And I think with Mook's most recent performance, it inspires a lot more confidence there, added to the angles that have come out a little bit more about Easy. However, or in more detail, I should say. But Easy, the block captain, is not Arsenal. You know what I'm saying? I'm not expecting Murder Mook by any means. I think it's a battle I still would probably take Easy in right now going into it. So my confidence, I think it's tougher for him right now because of the things that he's facing in the ring, the topics that can be touched on. But if Easy's really locked in the way he says he is next year, I think him and Mook could be better than it was when it was first booked in 2021 or almost booked. I think it's even better timing now than then. So it's definitely something I'd be down to see in 2025.
But I also think people are really heavy on Mook and Hitman, right? I know we're talking Easy and Mook right now, but I think Mook and Hitman is the one people want to see because for whatever reason, Hitman really has disdain for this man. I don't feel
you get them to sign contracts though, because that's a headache. I mean, and I don't like I said, I always want to go to the realism. It's not fun to tell fans, well, the business doesn't line up here, but both, Mook asked for $200K. You know what I'm saying? Like we can get really excited. We can want the matchup really bad, but we can't lose our minds. You know, so obviously Mook and Hitman is the gods of gods. It's maybe your two biggest draws in battle rap until Surf gets home. Of course, that would be a little bit different. But we're talking about like legendary. Of course, we want it, but I also do not want to wait around another year for them to just yell in spaces and both ask for a combined $400,000 because that's dumb. That's dumb. So I want what can get booked. And if Easy and Mook is easier to book and can actually happen, I want battles that I can watch the raps, not battles where I just think about the raps.
Gotcha. Yeah. So are we big? Are you guys big on Hitman and Lux? Because wasn't it a battle being spoken about first?
I love Hitman and Lux.
I love the battle.
I love the battle too. Remember Hitman talking about I'm gonna burn that hoodie. I'm gonna burn that hoodie. That's that shit. You know what I mean? Like that's the talk that I want. So they told it for me, and I think. Who knows? That could be hard to book as well, but it's right there for me with Mook and Hitman in terms of excitement.
One of the best performers of all time against one of the best pins of all time is the epitome of style clash, man. Like that's the epitome of like just two people at the best of their craft or the best in their department in battle rap, and then them just colliding. I love that battle. I'm also would be curious to know like where that would happen. Would Hitman say I'm gonna take the challenge and take the battle in a small room, or would it be a big stage battle? Because I feel like both people try to put Lux in this like pin heavy lane, and they should, but his charisma, his aura, the way he walks on stage and how people get is just crazy. Like I'm
seeing people saying Nitty won this battle clearly now. I had a few.
No, for sure. No, it's not clear. I think anybody. I think anybody that's saying this battle is clear is being very disingenuous. If I'm being real, but I say that to say I feel like Lux is the perfect mix of lyricism, of performance if he needs to, delivery, rapping, like all the things that you want to have as a battle. He has that, and Hitman has the same. I think the difference is that one person is the best performer of all time, and another person is arguably the best writer of all time. Okay. And if you look at just the way that they're approaching the battle, just based off what they're saying, Lux just doesn't think Hitman can rap, so he's just gonna try his best to out rap him, right? And Hitman is trying to show him not only can I rap, but I can also like light a stage on fire more than you can. You know what I'm saying? So I just love the battle, man. I just think that from a competitive aspect, I haven't seen Lux get this amped up for a battle since maybe Verb. You know what I'm saying? And I like it. I love it.
That's a big thing because how often do you see Mook or Lux I'm not going to use the word chase because in this culture that's a little bit derogatory in a sense, but I mean, like, yo, he's like, yo, I want to battle you. We almost didn't get Nitty and Lux because he's like, I want to kill Hitman so bad. You just don't see guys at this level get that level of motivation all the time,
Right.
and for that reason, that's a battle. If we could get that easier than Mook and Hitman, I would not even think about it. Either of those battles are printing money, first of all, and secondly, I think both of them would be fantastic and instant historical pieces of battle rap. So,
and one thing I want to say really quick, there's a better likelihood of us getting Hitman and Lux off of the strength of it being more about the competitive nature of the battle. I feel like Mook and Hitman is more of it got other stuff involved in that battle than just the competitive aspect. I think Hitman and Lux just want to battle each other, and I think that's a making for all time battle.
Lux let Mook come in there and just push him to the side though. Like Lux, how you let Mook just come in and push to the side for the battle and shit like that? And I also want to say this battle also. I'm still big on K, Shine, and Twerk. Still big on that. Don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'm still big on that.
Go ahead, Smo. Which I
got in today, don't he?
Huh?
Isn't K, Shine, and Shotty going out today? So we have some things we have to figure out before we get that stuff.
Right. Y'all not big on Shine and Twerk?
I love that battle. I love it, but I don't know what the hell is going on with Tay Shine. So there's quite a few matches, man. I know that it's some that haven't been talked about, but I want Swamp and K Shine. That's a battle that I want. Wow. It's not on the radar whatsoever, but I don't think people are realizing with Shine not being around, he's got quite a few.
So, I like that battle more than Goods and Swamp.
No, I might a little bit too, 3. You know what I'm saying? I think they're both but even Shine and another one people haven't thought of, even Shine and Big K. I'm just saying, like, even though those can seem a bit more random, top tiers just battle top tiers. It would be great for the sport to get him back active again. Twerk would be the #1 match we want from him. And then there's still ideas, but I just don't know what's going on with the guy. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Who do you guys want to see Nitty battle next year?
I mean, me and Smo been campaigning for this for about 3 years now. Nitty and Cal has to happen. The shots back and forth. I mean, that's realistically the only other battle I think that makes sense. I mean, I know Nitty and Mook was a thing, but obviously Mook is kind of like, I want to take T-Top and whomever first or whatever. Lux already beat him, so I don't have to. The game that they play, whatever. Cool. But in terms of battles that can happen in the foreseeable future, I think Cal has 2 actually. I would say Nitty and Cal, or Cal versus A-Ward, because A-Ward actually had a shot against Cal, and Cal was like, you know what, we might actually make it happen. So I think those 2 can happen next year for sure.
What about Av and Calico?
Av and Calico as well too. That's another one.
Cal's got a few of them out there. But for Nitty specifically, I mean, I don't normally say my favorites per se, but Nitty and Cal are my 2 favorite battle rappers ever. Ever. It's 1 and 2 for me. So that's a battle that for years, like almost personally, even when people really didn't want it and it makes sense, I was begging for it. And then they almost battled on SM not so long ago. I don't know if people remember that on SM. I think it was 12, where whichever one he battled, Cal battled easy on, but they had a whole thing going on and the battles didn't happen. So if there's one battle I could get from Nitty next year, be Nitty and Cal. But I know there's some people out there that want to book Nitty and Verb. I think it'll be a murder. You know what I'm saying? But I think it would be a good battle to book. But there's not a lot left out there for Nitty, man. And we could say Mook and Hitman, but I also, while those are cool matchups, they're on another path right now. So hopefully next year we get the Calico battle, maybe the Verb one from him. But even Cal's got a lot on his plate, man. Cal's got Ab who's calling him out. Obviously, you even said A-Ward's got some noise for him. So we'll just have to play it by ear. But if I could just one battle I could get next year, for me personally, I want Nitty and Calico as a fan.
Are you guys big on Hustle and Jazz for next year? Or we done with that conversation?
I think that's water under the bridge now, man. I think that's I think that matchup is
such a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I want to record saying they could have headlined the SM prior if they were on it. Like I genuinely feel like if it was Hustle and Jazz, it could have headlined that SM. But I think as of right now, they're just both on different paths. Jazz is already kind of like considering the Prestavia battle, I guess. She's kind of like alluded to considering that battle. And then on Hustle's end, she still wants the Hitman battle too. Another battle you could book for Hitman can do next year if he chooses to. But yeah, I just think this was a missed opportunity, and it'll be a battle that just probably won't get.
Battlers returning to form, fellas. Talk to me. Who y'all got? Battlers returning to form.
Yeah, I mean, this year I feel like we got a fair share of battlers that really turned it on this year. JC's a guy that I said has kind of been on his redemption arc this year. Last year, I felt like he was, getting checks. You know what I'm saying, giving looks and whatnot. But this year in particular, I feel he got the hunger back. You know what I'm saying, like even against. The younger talent, right? I thought he had a dope performance on Black Ice Cartel. Obviously, his performances against the Bad Newses, the Units, and stuff like that. But specifically, I think the two that he needed, even if you want to say he wasn't spectacular in the battle, but he still did what he needed to do to win, the Bill Collector and Hollow performances back to back were a huge legacy boost for him, especially with the critique of him not really showing up for those bigger names or for in those legacy matchups. Even if you want to say him and Hollow wasn't on like a SM or Gnome or something like that, it's still Hollow at the end of the day. And for him to kind of clearly beat him and clearly beat Bill in Pennsylvania, I think JC is a person that returned to form. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about some of these battlers. I wouldn't necessarily call it a full return because Lux just takes so long to battle. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but obviously with the legends, you got Lux and Mook, even though he was good versus Twerk. You know what I'm saying? But you have the legends up there highly, but you still got top tiers like T-Top, who's had an incredible year.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say Swamp's a bounce back year, but his 2023 was like a little dip, and then it was another shoot back up in 2024. JC, obviously, as you mentioned, like you.
I thought A-Ward in there.
Yeah, because people would say he had a bad. I mean, I believe he still made it. I made the list, so I think I should know.
Losses last year, smart. People had to lose a lot of battles last year.
And he did lose some battles. He lost to Stick. He lost to Frack. I did not have him lose. Yeah, he lost. Definitely lost to Big K. You know what I'm saying? And some would debate he lose to Verb. I don't.
I had Ward be the Verb.
I think all of us got Ward. I think most people that aren't from St. Louis got Ward. Truth be told, but it definitely returned to form from him. So you already have the legends holding their own, but then you have JC, T-Top, and A-Ward all battling at a high level, man. This speaks when you look at the details. Like, I know it's almost cool to say battle rap is down or battle rap is this. It's a very trendy place. People just follow what they hear. But for those of us that watch the work, very good things have happened for the sport this year. And that has to do with a lot of people taking it more serious.
And one other name I was going to throw in is John. I feel like you can say it stems from the Easy battle, but John in 2024 is some of the best John I've seen since maybe 2019. So prior to COVID. So yeah, John's another person I think of. I think off of pure rapping, and then just what he was able to do this year with running the league, but then also taking Serious Jones within less than a week. You know what I'm saying? That was a huge deal. Him taking Frack and arguably beating Frack in a tough battle where a lot of people can't beat Frack, taking Coffee. Like the man was lights out this year. You know what I'm saying? So that's another guy I think of too. So
he was. What do you guys think about Official?
Official's another person I feel like had a bounce back year.
Sleeper in a sense too, right? Because outside of T-Top loss, it's a kind of an ugly battle. I do have her losing clear though. The Vixen battle is probably the best battle that a woman versus a woman had this year. She cooked the hell out of Loso. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's done actually some pretty bad things to people in New Orleans between Loso and Big Ice. Even Big Ice had a good second shot to her.
Yeah,
those are 230s though. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. You know what I'm saying? So she's definitely been, and this is someone that in the past few years, people have been talking about her maybe being washed. You know what I mean? Rightfully so. She looked bad. You know, like sometimes you get critique, and I know that people are like, well, what about the work before? Well, you look bad now. However, she looks good now. You know what I mean? So you see all the love that she's getting. So definitely someone who's kicked it up for female battle rap specifically in 2024.
I don't know how you guys feel about this name, but I guess consistency, because he had a great year last year. He's kept it this year also. Chef Trez.
Yeah, no, Chef Trez is a model of consistency. I think that ever since he came on in the final exams against Authentic, he's been on a run. Like that's late 2022, right? So from then on, he just really, and I think you interviewed him sometime, I want to say back end of last year, and he just said, yeah, I'm just taking this more seriously. Like I care about these rankings. I care about where my name is mentioned in regards to the all-time greats. And you can see it in just how he's going against these top tier opponents. Like this year, him and Fonz, dope battle. Him and T-Top, even if you want to say T-Top had like a crazy performance, Chef Trez was so good in that battle. The upset win against Tay Roc, in my opinion. I feel like that, like if you want to say Jazz was the first person to kind of clearly beat Tay Roc, I think that the clearest win over Tay Roc this year easily goes to Trez, 100%. So you can talk about that as well. Trez last 2 years has really, really helped him legacy wise. I always feel like he was a top tier talent, but it was stringing along wins that really kept him from being of the echelon. But now you have the wins, now you have the impact behind your name, and now you have like these notable things that we can point to and say, hey, Trez is one of the best active battle rappers right now.
Lang and Small. I also want to throw in Fonz and John for a battle that I want to see in 2025. Also.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
should have been happened.
Yeah.
And I don't like. I can't say I don't like, but I see John. He doesn't entertain. That's the matchup to go get. If you're going to be a battle rapper next year,
I told him Fonz.
And there's still other good matchups for John. But
Fonz is the one though, bro.
I don't want to see John battle anyone next but Fonz. And to be honest with you, it's not going to happen because he's more active. But I really don't even want to see Fonz battle anyone else next but John. That's makes so much sense, and I think it's going to do wonders for Fonz's stock as well as John. It's a good battle for John.
Smo, and who do you have concerns for going into next year?
I'm always concerned about chess. I'm always concerned a little bit, 3, and especially what's he got? He's got Eunice knocking at his door. He's got Eunice knocking at his door, and he does not look like he's ready for guests in his house right now. So I'm definitely
come on, man. What are we talking about?
Not cool. Not a gangster thing to do, especially not choking. I always hear if Chess doesn't choke, he's an unstoppable. He looks unstoppable that day. But besides joking on him a little bit, it's been a tough couple of years for him. I'm a little worried about him, and I'm also a little worried about some of the guys we talked about earlier with Big K and Ill Will. Just, Ill Will's got Chiron coming up, who's looked really, really good. And even though I don't think Will has been as bad as some people have said, he's definitely taking the sport a little less serious. I think he'll even tell you that himself. So I got Chiron 2-1 as well. So I'm looking at him a little nervous. And then as for Big K, I don't think Big K is taking a step back skill wise, but how do you respond from a loss like the one to New Jersey Twerk? I'm not saying he's not going to respond. I'm just saying his next battle is very important for that specific reason.
Are you stay with me right quick? Easy and Big K. What do you guys think about that battle?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought for Big K, right, a person that is one of the most polarizing figures in battle rap, I thought the major critique is that can he do what he does? Can he do what he has been doing against those other top names that we want him against, the Tay Rocs, the Twerks, and whatnot, right? I felt like he answered the bell against Tay Roc, but then Twerk was like 3-4 steps back, right? So I don't know how many other top tiers are going to take him now, and I don't even know if Easy will entertain the battle now because. But I will say this:
take him. I wouldn't go that far.
No. I'm saying like the perennial guys. So I don't.
God damn.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I still think there's top tier matchups for him. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of the easies, he's mentioned Hitman before and stuff like that. I feel like he was ascending towards that level, right? And I feel like the Twerk battle kind of set him back, a couple steps. But I think that, Big K is still a perennial top tier battler that can still perform at a high level. I do think that his next matchup is extremely important. I would like him in Easy to battle. I would have liked it better if it was during that when 2022 when he was on his run or whatever, 2023, excuse me, when he was on his run. But if I'm being realistic, I don't know if Big K and Easy will be in the cards for next year, honestly.
It wouldn't shock me if it is, though.
I think it'd still be a good battle for Easy. I think that it missed its best window. At one point, it was going to be a battle for who was going to win Cody, and obviously we didn't, that didn't end up going down. So it lost a lot of its steam since then. It's definitely not the sought-after matchup. But if it popped out as, like, let's say Easy's 4th or 5th best opponent of the year or just, like, in the mix somewhere, I wouldn't necessarily be mad at it.
Another name, Lang, Loso, for me.
Well, Loso, if you're going off of just like a lot of production, but I don't know if anything has kind of stamped him this year. You could point to his biggest feat this year, taking Tay Roc and Geechee in the same weekend, right? But unfortunately, he has 2 judge losses, with one of them being extremely questionable, right? That'll be the asterisk.
He beat Geechee.
Right.
That Monopoly judging was a sham, and as people
everyone said the same thing.
I mean, it's just if you know the way it was thrown, they pulled Jay Murder out the crowd. Like, just you want to judge something, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how this is supposed to work. So, but he does have a very really valid judge loss to Tay Roc in the sense that like they were good judges. I think it was Verb, Quest, and Chilla. I could be incorrect, but I think it's some mix of them and maybe a fan vote. So I'm totally with you there. But outside of those two, Lang, like I think it's dark. It's not.
Yeah, it gets tough because I feel like, again, 2021, that was the best year of his career. He was knocking on the door to be top tier. 2022 gets an injury or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then last year and this year back to back has just not been good years for him. And then he got opportunities like the T-Top battle last year, so that was more favorable for T-Top. And then this year he's getting a lot of opportunities against the Tay Rocs, the Geechees, and whatnot. But the issue with him this year is that even in the situations where he's going against people of his caliber or maybe a little bit lower, he's just not having great performances. Like I look at the Sirius Jones battle. Say what you will about Sirius, but I wasn't that blown away with his performance. The Your Honor battle earlier, the Your Honor battle earlier this year. The official battle. Now, granted, if you want to say facing official in New Orleans is a hard feat, absolutely, but you still have to have one, good poise, and two, you still have to power through it as well too. The Jack Boy battle
was not it though, bro.
Right.
Oh,
so I don't know. And again, you're talking to a person that really respects Loso and really thinks that he has top tier qualities and potential. But in terms of the production this year, besides the fact that he's battled more often this year than in comparison to others, I just don't see those those standout performances that I've saw from him in the past, quite honestly.
You know, battle I think that happened in the next year, I think. Mad Flex and Holmesy. I like that battle.
It's a good little gem right there. Mike Masters out in Utah, man. I've only heard good things about how they play because they actually had Av and Marv one. They had Nitty and Quest over there. They've had a couple joints. I think 40 versus Danny is on that exact same card. They've smaller league, but I've heard they do really good business and they accommodate the battlers well. Every battler that's battled over there has spoken really highly of them. And, you know, it's not going to be for everyone, all those Pen Fest, every level of battle rap. But if anyone looking just for some decent battles and they really like the raps, they're doing some pretty good things over there in Utah.
Can Mad Flex and Holmesy be a Mad Flex versus Jay the Nightwing part 2? Can it be one of them joints?
It could be a good battle. I think stylistically, I think there's a lot of elements that played into that. It being blackout, Jay the Nightwing being a chameleon and knowing how to like just he's a matchup problem for any type of battler, you know what I'm saying, that is going to face him. He
was wild against Geechee. Whether you think he won or lost,
against
Geechee. Yeah, and that's another name I thought was going to have like a mega year this year based off of what we've seen with the Mad Flex performance, with the Geechee performance, and I don't know, I really haven't seen him battle that much this year. But hopefully that's a name that we could see more in the fold going into 2025. But in regards to Holmesy and Mad Flex, I think that's just a dope battle. Two, in my opinion, underrated battlers just getting after it, right? And with Holmesy, right, I just think that he's been in this weird bubble where like he builds and builds and builds and he gets like somewhat of a top tier opponent. And it's not a favorable result, you know. So hopefully, you know, he gets into a position where he builds up again into another marquee matchup, and you know, we could be talking about him being, you know, in a different conversation. But I like the matchup though. I think they both have been pretty good in the front. I mean, we're halfway through the decade, so and when it comes to the 2020s, these are two of the most consistent battlers of this decade so far.
Yeah, I guess you could say. I mean, that's a big claim. You know what I'm saying? Considering how many great battle rappers we have, I do think it's going to be a good pen battle. I think Jay and Mad Flex is special. It's kind of lightning in a bottle. So I'm not really sure if it'll be that. But I believe they're talented, and I've seen Holmesy have some really high highs, and obviously Mad Flex is respected. So I expect a good battle over there. Just everything I watch from Mike Masters, at the very least, is just good pen work. So if you just like watching well-written battles, maybe not the best of the year, maybe not the most explosive, but they just give good content. So I'm not expecting anything crazy, but I'm expecting a good joint.
How do we feel about Shuni beating Arsenal? And she just battled on.
Shuni has had now, and I want to document this. Shuni has had her best year beginning to year end year in 2024. Now you can say that she ain't battle as much, but in regards to being consistent,
it's gonna be a tough one against Mike.
No, it's for sure gonna be tough. I want to start with this year because I think next year we have to see how things play out because she's taking on a lot more on her plate. But in terms of 2024, I mean, you know, she's done a lot of good work. You know, no noticeable stumbles or mess ups in her battles. Right? You're talking about a judge win over Danny, a solid battle against E Hart. You know, another top caliber MC. Then you're talking about the Arsenal battle, which call it what you will. I think is pretty much a debatable battle, right? I don't think it's a negative for either of them.
Yeah, it's
And then
not.
with her one rounder stuff, I just thought she had a good year this year. Honestly, I know last year she may have had more impactful performances and stuff like that. The Suge performance, Miss Miami stuff like that. You know, she's had more impactful stuff. But in terms of a consistent year, this is one of her more consistent years you'll find in her career.
No, she's been solid. I'm a little worried about her versus Mike. I had her winning at first, but she took 3 battles in like less than 2 weeks. Eventually, it's going to catch up to her. It started to catch up to her at the end of that Arsenal third when she was kind of stumbling through it. And I think Mike is a bigger threat right now than Arsenal or Hustle. So I'm a little worried for her going into the Chrome battle. But in terms of just her 2024, it wasn't the loudest year, but she didn't really have fuck-ups, man. She did pretty good.
Is that with the females, fellas? Vixen also. I thought Vixen had a great, dope year. I know I wish she had one more battle for the fourth quarter before a year. I wish she had one more battle. But
she was undefeated. She didn't battle too much, you know what I'm saying? But I had her her was like that, and I had her beating Rum Nitty. I had her beating Rum Nitty. Good battle, you know what I'm saying? I think some people thought it was a little closer, but I thought she took off on him, you know what I'm saying, in the second and the third. And I'm forgetting
40
bars.
And 40 was actually decent. I watched 40 lose by bigger margins this year, but she lost to Vixen because Vixen, held it down. I mean, Black Ice, she's from Milwaukee, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes, man, I know some people 10 battles. Oh, I have 12 battles. I'm so active. I'd rather you have 3 battles you did very good in and maybe one than 10 battles of just I was outside for the sake of it, but you lost here, you won here. Like, it's not a counting contest. It's not who can get the most battles. It's who can get the best battles. She's a great example of doing that.
Tay Roc, over and under Tay Roc, over 5 battles next year.
I don't know because I do think it's heavily predicated on if he wins Champion of the Year or not. I think that's going to tell us exactly what he's going to do for the rest of 2025. But I do think that he's also going on record saying that I think Uncle Raw interview after the Trez battle, he said going into 2025, he's for sure taking a lower pitch count and he's for sure trying to do more URL oriented work. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that looks for him, but I don't know if we'll get another 10 battle year from Tay Roc. I mean, this is like his third consecutive year doing it. 2024, 2023, and 2022, he had about 10 or more battles, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that time is kind of past. But who knows? But
I don't, with a guy like Tay Roc, and listen, I'm not saying this at all to slight his 2024 because I think it's incredible what he's done volume-wise as well, but a guy like Tay Roc, like I spoke earlier on, like people have certain lanes in this culture. You got guys, it makes more sense for them to give shots. I don't think Tay Roc should really be battling more than 5 times in a I always view things booking wise, momentum, and kind of like the other things just besides winning and losing, and is he active and outside? And I just think it would mean more to see if you look at his prime in 2015 when we just had less battles per year. That's the best he was, and he's battling like 3 times in a year. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you can't return to 1 or 2 battles. I'm not expecting him to move like Lux or Mook, but for the sake of his brand as well as the sake of the quality per battle, I would love to see him take it max 4 to 5 battles next year. But that, like Lang said, it's going to depend on if he wins here. He's talking about he's got other projects cooking up for 2025. But please, you know what I'm saying? Battle a little bit less. Go. You don't need to be doing all that.
Last question: is Sue Surf going to battle this year when he comes out? If he comes out this year, is he going to battle this year? You guys think in 2025?
I don't know because I don't know. I think he's gonna take 2025 to kind of get things in order, and we'll maybe see him in 2026. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, he may get the itch. He may want to come back in the ring, but I'm not banking on him battling in 2025. Honestly, I just want the man to come home, get things in order, and from there we'll see what happens. But
stay out of trouble. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I think that he's going to be very observant of what's going on. I mean, he's already been observant. I mean, he's still in tune. But I think he's going to be very observant of what's going on in 2025. And if he has that itch to battle in 2025,
it'll be easy, man. I think that man was in the worst way. Seriously, I think he was easy to block Captain in the worst way.
Man, you want to talk about a battle we need? I know we're excited for Rock and Easy, but when that first space or interview, when that man comes home, it's going to do battle numbers. You know what I'm saying? I know he's going to have a lot to say. Surf and Easy, we don't always have battles that shift the sport, even if they're big battles. That's one that you know, we're rearranging things. I hope I don't know when he's going to get out. There's so many details. At the end of the day, I want that man to go see his family.
Absolutely.
I'm so overly happy that even though he went away for a bit where it could have been so much worse for him personally and all that. So I agree if he wants to take some time. I know he's always going to chop his stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's going to brand. He's one of the best at that. I think we might, you know, there's been people all talking about it. I know Danny Myers is like, I'm ready to go. So I think that there might always be someone that will be down to take the battle. But for the sake of making it a big battle, the guy's probably going to want Mook. He's probably going to want Easy. I don't want the luxury match, but it's probably beyond us. He's going to get whatever he wants. So, but if it's one of those big matches, it could wait to 2026. But if he just wants to get in the ring so bad, I think they can find someone for him. Before
I think also, fellas, what plays a big part for Surf is the month when he gets out.
Absolutely.
Right? Let's say he gets out February, then he has March to when June, July to like, okay, I got
10 months compared to maybe 4 if he gets out later in the year. So I totally agree. And we don't know when he's going to get. I mean, we know he's supposed to get out next year, but I don't know the date down to the detail. So it'll all depend. But this, the same way, you know, we need people that do numbers like that. We see what Hitman's doing, and Surf is like another Hitman in terms of the energy he can bring. You have both of these guys talking the way that Hitman's been talking and Surf was before, but at the same time, I don't want to hear none of this dumbass battle rap is dead stuff. Maybe y'all's favorites are not winning. Maybe your favorite league isn't doing good enough. Maybe y'all's favorites aren't winning, but this sport is very far from dead.
Absolutely, man. Lang Smart, appreciate y'all, man. 2024, love y'all boys, man. I appreciate y'all as always, man.
Love as always. Thanks for having us up here, and we'll talk again next year, man.
Always. We'll talk after January 5th, though, because this weekend is
I'll be here.
Let's see if Suge shocks the world, right? Peace and love, man. I appreciate y'all brothers, man. Shout out Smo. Shout out Lang. Y'all know the vibe.